I spent a lot of time thinking about this decision. I acknowledge that it's an honor, that it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be in the White House, and I I respect that location and the position, and I really respect the folks in our cohort who chose to be a part of that. And I'm very much a believer in freedom of speech, and I support that everyone shows that and demonstrates that right in different ways. And we also want to celebrate the National Teacher of the Year, Rodney Robinson, and we celebrate and champion and support him. But we needed to make our own choice about what felt right for us. And for me, I work at a school that is extremely diverse. It's an alternative high school in Shakopee, and the policies and the words and the actions of this administration show a great deal of discrimination and prejudice and hatred toward the students that I serve. And I could not, in good conscience, even implicitly support people who hate my kids. Also, as a gender nonconforming lesbian, there have been, if you look on the GLAAD website, I think to date there's 104 attacks against my community, against my LGBTQ community. And I want to model for my students that even though you can respect someone's position, you also can have healthy boundaries and decide what's right for you. I don't generally go into other people's homes if I know that they hate me for who I am without ever actually knowing anything about me. And so I really want to model for students that they can make those choices for themselves about what feels healthy for them. But at the end of the day, I can't actively or implicitly support an administration who treats my kids very, very poorly.
In what way do they do that, Kelly? That's strong language. You can't support or didn't want to meet with people who hate your children. You were going to be meeting with, what, Betsy DeVos, Pence, and President Trump. How do they hate your children?
Right. Well, if you look at the words and the actions and the policies, the attacks against LGBTQ people, the attacks against immigrants and refugees and people of the global majority and American Indians and people with disabilities, there are so many statements that are made that are negative. And it also creates an environment and a culture in our country that emboldens people who have that hatred and that fear of others. And it causes those folks to be more verbal with their language. For example, I have a student who is Muslim and she's Somali and she wears a hijab. And every time she's in public, people yell at her and call her a terrorist and tell her to go back home. And she is the kindest human I've ever met. She gives the best hugs of anyone in the world. She is sweet and sassy and smart, and she is articulate. And she could so easily hate the world because of the way that she's being treated. And she chooses not to hate the world. She chooses to come from a place of light and love. And I can't support someone who hates someone like that. And in my classroom, I really support healthy communication and discussion and differences of opinion, but there has to be ground rules for it to be healthy and productive. So in my classroom, we respect each other's opinions, but there's no space for prejudice or discrimination, and you can't attack other people. So if I were to actually have an open opportunity to talk to members of this administration, to Mr. Trump or Mr. Pence or Ms. DeVos, then I would welcome that if they would follow the ground rules. And experience has taught us that there's a lot of attacking statements, there's a lot of prejudice, there's a lot of discrimination. I wouldn't expect my students to participate in a conversation like that because it's not healthy and it's not productive.